that, but like, yeah, you can have debt and stuff, but like, it ain't that bad. Like, it could always be way worse, you know. It's like,
yeah, for sure. And it's just
anytime I start getting squirrely about finances and stuff, I watch some of these shows on YouTube, and I'm like, I'm good.
yeah,
In the grand scheme of things, dude. Like,
yeah, exactly.
oh.
Exactly. Oh man.
Remember that time I was supposed to be a guest and Justin chickened out last minute? That was like a year ago.
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Yeah, what Pepperidge Farm doesn't remember is the other times I've talked to Keller and he's like, "Oh, we're out of work. I can't. I gotta get up early. I gotta take my back pill."
I almost used a picture of Keller from many Daytonas ago, a black and white photo of him sitting there, and there's just a caption that says, "Why is the rum gone?" And I almost used that for tonight's Instagram reel, and I was like, "No, I'm gonna save that one. I'm gonna save that one for the upcoming Daytona." It's so classic, and he looks so sad too. He's like,
"No, little sad Keller."
Yeah.
So it's Monday. We're here.
Oh yeah,
it's episode 205 of Snakes and Stogies, which is brought to you by Cold Blooded Caffeine. Check it out. Grab yourself some coffee. They have a Memorial Day sale going on. 50% off while supplies last on various accoutrements. So like their pour over, I think they were doing a 50% off sale. They were running some sales on some of the coffee mugs and tumblers and some other odds and ends. So go on down to the link down below in the description. Shop around. Get yourself some stuff. Get the Snakes and Stogies blend. The odd mixture of Rwandan and Mexican coffee blended by the best. And it will not disappoint. It is delicious. It is nutritious. It'll make you attack your day like you're vicious.
It was good. It was good.
Like that?
Good quickness. It was good. It was good.
And then BlackBoxCages.com. Also, another product you will not be disappointed by. Awesome racks, awesome cages, and a ton of different configurations, anything you can need. Shop around. If you end up putting something in the cart and you end up getting a checkout, put in the code THN, you get 10% off your order. There's a pickup option, so if you want to save on shipping and you're within a reasonable driving distance to North Georgia, mark that as an option. Jet on up there, pick it up, make a family weekend out of it or something. I don't know, me and Jake have done that. We grab a hotel, we get a U-Haul trailer or something, lock everything up in that, and it's been just kind of a nice little overnight get out of town kind of thing. So
yeah.
Give them a follow on all the major platforms, Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff. BlackBoxCages.com. And then another product you might be disappointed by, I don't know, FullViewsApparel.com. Use the code THN at checkout as well. Get 15% off your order. That is the exclusive promo code for THN listeners and viewers like you. He got that Subok hat. I think I still have one of those floating around somewhere.
Are you wearing my new favorite shirt?
Yes.
Can you stand up and show the world my new favorite shirt?
It's the... I can't because my camera's too close, but I will pull up the Instagram. How about that?
Yes, dude. You know, you've done a lot of really cool shirts, man. Some of them I'm like, man, that's awesome. Some of them I'm like, wow, I need that. This one is, wow, that's awesome, and wow, I need that. That may be my new favorite shirt you've made.
I dig it.
It's so simplistic and it's so inside too. Like only those that know will know.
Let me see if I can get it here.
Excuse me. I was actually thinking, like, you should have done it like a quote, like Dyspholidus dash, or everyone bleeds dash Dyspholidus. There
yeah,
it is.
And I can still change it. I mean, that's kind of just the original iteration of it.
Yeah, it's so great.
I like how sort of the gothic
vibe
of it is kind of what I like the most.
Very much so. I love it. Now, was that a scientific illustration?
Yep.
Nice. Do you remember the paper or the journal it was from?
I don't. It has a name on it in the bottom left-hand corner, but it's really hard to make out. It's so old. It's
those
hard
listening,
to say.
yeah, those listening on your way to work, this is a black and white scientific illustration from some journal circa the 1800s of a boom slang on a tree branch, and in Gothic letters it says "boom slang, everybody bleeds." I love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, I got to get that one up on the site here soon.
I'm due for an order, so the minute you do, I'll place one.
Because I also have that Willard eye in the Arizona outline. That's the next state thing I did was
nice.
Put, ridge nose in the Arizona outline.
Hell yeah, I gotta get that too. I wear them frequently enough that let me rephrase this. I've worn the Biddish shirt with the Africa and the three snakes. I've worn that shirt so much now that the collar is blown out. It's starting to shrink upright, and like there's no holes or nothing, but like it feels like I've had it for a decade because I've just been wearing it so much.
Yeah.
However, the print is still perfect.
Good.
Yeah. I mean, the black has faded a little bit just because.
Yeah, and I mean it's going to because those
yeah.
fibers are going to come up, and it's going to happen.
But it has stood up to, dude. I don't know, 50 washes since I got it. I have no idea how many times I've worn that shirt.
Yeah. So
I just got a text from our guest. He's working out his connection.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's actually it's been a year of Fulvius as of I think this
really
month.
That's awesome.
So, and with Memorial Day, I'll probably run another sale like this weekend. Don't know exactly what I'm going to do yet. Nothing too crazy.
You should do
1 year
10% off all American species.
I thought about something like that, but there's not that many.
Well, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is the Crotalus on the flag.
The Bleed American.
Yeah. Dude, I love that shirt. And it's so red. It's so red. When I wear it, everyone's like, wow, that is a red shirt.
Yeah. Then it's with those soft styles, man. There's like 3 different shades of red, but that's the one man. I like the most. Because the other ones are like a cardinal or like a deeper red, like a maroon almost. And
no, this is straight up crimson.
Yeah, this is athletic red. Like right. So
love it. Well, in that segue, what's that?
I want to do another rhino shirt. I need to do another rhino design. I've got a couple that I started working on and just haven't gotten very far. Jeff Frederick was supposed to coach me on some of them because I needed some input. So
nice. I got to hit him up. I got a logo he's been tweaking that I got to get back with him. So, but speaking of shirts and apparel, anyone who tried to go to venomexchangeradio.com and had issues with the website, it is up and going. So venomexchangeradio.com, check it out, and feel free to peruse the merch. But there was some server issues that have been corrected. So
yeah, Elias, and that just hasn't happened yet. That's all.
Oh, it's gonna.
I think if I'm gonna do that, it's gonna be sort of like the Biddis one where there's gonna have like multiple species.
Well, I probably shouldn't say it out loud, but I had an idea for Pimps of Papua, and you do like this the same thing kind of like you do with the state shirts, only it's the silhouette of the island itself, and then have like Apodora, IJ, Fuscus, whatever, slithering out of the state. I thought that would be a cool idea. You should do that one.
Yeah, right now I just have the green tree.
Yeah, which is awesome
in the silhouette.
But that would scratch that last.
I did have a New Caledonia one that I was working on that had like a Chihuahua eye, a crested eye, and then a gargoyle eye. But because of how small, basically the ratio of the eye to the size of the silhouette of the like the pieces of land, it was kind of hard to make out exactly what
yeah.
And it looked kind of turd-like, if we're going to be honest, in terms of shape. And
yeah, they're very lateral islands.
I'm losing my voice for some reason. What are you smoking this evening?
So we were talking about crimson. It doesn't get crimsoner than that, baby. I'm gonna let you guess. I'm gonna hold it back here. What is it?
Is it La Antigüedad?
No, this is so left field. I didn't expect you to get it at all.
La Roma de Cuba?
No. I am not a guy for gimmicky smokes. It's not my thing at all. But
there's a lot of them out there.
There's a lot of them out there. But this one it just had something there. I had to get one. So this is a semi-box press Toro from Knuckle Sandwich, the Guy Fieri line of cigars. Can you see it?
Yeah.
It's got a skull with a chef's hat. And this is the Guy Fieri, you know, I have spiky hair and eat it TGI Fridays.
Flavor Town, yeah.
This is his Flavor Town cigar. It is not a flavored cigar from what I'm told. And it's supposed to be just a good solid blend. They have a Maduro, a Connecticut, and a Sun-Grown, much like, you know, everyone has the triple, the three.
Yep.
This is a Maduro. And like I said, semi-box press, so it's got a little shape to it.
It looks solid, like the color of the wrapper and stuff.
It
looks appealing. Like
yeah,
if I saw it on the shelf, I'd be like, all right.
Yeah, it cut flawlessly. No splintering in the cap at all. No strays or stems or whatever. And I'm excited for it. Let's just try. Let's have a Guy Fieri smoke. It's
Flavor Town, here we come.
Little Guy Fieri F on there. And this particular model is the Espinosa. So,
if it's made by Espinosa, then it's probably going to be pretty good, because I don't think I've had a cigar from Espinosa that I did not.
Well, I thought it might be them, but I don't know if this is the actual model. Is called Espinosa. I have to look it up.
Yeah,
because from what I gathered,
it wouldn't surprise me if Espinosa made it. Because Espinosa is like has a
right
track record of doing sort of like goofy kind of stuff like that, like.
Well, and I asked the guy, I was like, is this an Espinosa cigar? And he probably didn't know. Maybe he was bullshitting me, but he's like, no, that's the name of that one. They have like 5 different names for each stick. Like they don't call it a Toro. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't know. We'll see. But I'm eager. What about you?
Fonseca Edition MX, which is a Mexican.
Oh, nice.
Andreas Broadleaf.
I've not had that.
It's new. So the regular Fonseca was pretty good. I had this one a couple weeks ago, and it was pretty solid. So these have had a little more time to sit out, and we're going to give them a shot.
Nice.
And then it has the cedar, so I don't know, I might put a hole in the shirt if I try to run light with the cedar.
Dude, I never have luck with it.
And my feelings would get hurt.
Like I've used cedar plenty of times, like an actual plank, but every time they wrap the smoke in cedar, it never lights right, man.
It's a very thin compared to like regular sheets that go in between the layers in the boxes. It is like paper thin.
Okay.
Normally it's a couple plies thicker on the box, like the inside of the box cedar. So you have to wear sunglasses on the back of your head while you smoke it.
Nice. Thanks, Dallas. Just white shirts for everything. I got this soft flame, so I'm just gonna use that. Rock and roll, man. Just like Guy Fieri.
Anything new going on down yonder?
No. I was talking to Billy Hunt the other day, actually yesterday, and Silly Billy. And dude, I'm just so busy with work and like just doing stuff, like trying to get the snake room up in order. And I got more black boxes coming, so like trying to play Tetris and like just focusing on the animals I have. I know it's late to the game for some species. It's still good for some others, but I'm probably going to not pair anything this year at all, because I don't have acid. I want to be present. I want to be present, like mentally and physically. And it's not that big a deal, you know. there's always next year. So I'm like 90% in that I'm not going to pair anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you tried the water pythons, right?
Yeah,
And
water
those
pythons are like in
came with it?
totally. Yeah, they're just they don't care, and I don't know if it's an age thing or maybe I'm just not cycling them correctly, which is a high probability. I don't know, but I have ideas to change things up for next season. And I have a feeling that because it's a desert room and they are not necessarily a desert species, I'm going to have to try things a little differently with them. But I feel like next year, I'm going to definitely have Cerastes going. I'm definitely going to have Transpecos Copperheads going. And I'm going to just get back into geckos, man, because it just geckos got backburnered and like I feel bad. Like I have like these amazing hypo barking geckos from excuse me, from Leland Ward. Excuse me. And dude, they're like looking at me like, breed us. Let us colony. Let us be one together.
Just let it happen, man.
I'm like, nope. I am not going to be able to check your egg box for 3 days and therefore they will die and I will be crying. So no.
I believe Jeff and Kendra did get Fuscus this year.
They did get Fuscus this year. So more power to them, more kudos to them. I won't even think about pairing mine. What about yourself, sir?
You at least tried, you know. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, Philip.
It's true. It's very true. But I also like I feel like I didn't cycle feed them at all. And the temps in the room are so wild. And we're just thinking about humidity and them and like they don't live in their water bowl. Like they're happy enough humidity wise in their tubs. But I'm like, man, should I get them in a BlackBox? Should I give them bigger tubs? So I just cohab them since they are cool with each other, you know? And then I think about how crazy food aggressive they are. I'm like, dude, these are the most puppy dog pythons I've ever owned, dude. It's crazy. Like people are going to think I'm full of crap, but these are the most puppy dog pythons of all the python species I've ever owned. Everything from ball pythons to bloods, carpets, retics, berms, every python I've ever owned. These Queensland Fuscus are just so chill. I mean, they have a food response like any other python, but they're so chill. And I think I'm just gonna pair them up. Just leave them together for 6 months, see what happens.
That's my approach. Let them do all the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as far as here goes, the pied blood red female is going to drop here soon. She looks like she's about to freaking pop.
Nice.
She did have her prelay shed over the weekend. So that shed that she had prior to that I thought was her prelay wasn't her prelay. This is her prelay. She looks even more gravid. So she's going to be dropping here soon. Female rhino finally shed. And I'm still not entirely sure if me thinking that she was possibly gravid recently was her ovulating or had like serious follicle development or something, because the male is now in a shed cycle. And there was a point in time where I was having a conversation with Rob Stone. I don't know if it was in Messenger, if it was like on a podcast, but he had mentioned, because I had originally had it mixed up and thought that what he had talked about was like when the female was going into her prelay, the males, for whatever reason, it triggered a shed cycle with them. But after I clarified, because I asked him about it the other day, because I noticed that male was going into shed, and I'm like, that's odd. I remember Rob saying something about that. And he was saying he noticed with cohabbed. Let me pull up what he said, because I don't want to misquote. Yeah. Bobby Pebs.
Can't misquote the Pebbles.
So he's noticed males will shed once the last female in the room has ovulated. In your instance, could align if only the single mature female, I don't know / remember what you have. Mine here, not so much. Have approached them as single pairs maintained together this season to avoid fiasco of being spread too thin. But the female with the largest male is deeply opaque, and he started getting super antsy, so put him in with the girl in the neighboring cage with big follicles and immediate go time. In general, I find it as much with boids as rhinos, but certainly rhinos, They're not feeding once in season, certainly not sufficient to generate a generate a shed cycle.
Right.
So if they shed, it's generally telling you something / not random. Similarly, if males in the room are eating / willing to eat, that's a very clear message as well. I said, for example, in 2019, a 2019 male I've had paired up that bred earlier in the season and is still paired up was all too eager to eat today. This guy looked at me like I had 3 heads. One 2020 male unpaired refused. The other similarly situated was happy to eat. Makes me think I should get those probes out for the second one.
Nice.
So there seems to be some sort of correlation with ovulation in males and triggering something with them.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I don't know. It's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what happens after not seeing her out for easily 2+ weeks. And now, like, I came home today and she was perched up with the male in his little perch spot.
Okay.
Up, but they weren't locked or anything. Thought that was interesting because typically I don't see them really hanging out together. So
yeah,
I just thought it was odd that she went to him, in the spot that he hangs out. So I don't know. We're learning as we go. We'll see.
Yeah, for sure. So Billy Jenkins says, "Oh shit." And that's our segue to introduce our guest this evening, the one and only Mr. Billy Hunt of Uabami Reptiles.
Billy and the Hizzy.
Billy and the Hizzy.
Can you guys hear me? I'm on the iPad, my
the bat phone
laptop. Yeah, my laptop had to get updated, and it's taken a really long time. So.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, you sound good. You're present. There's no echo.
Cool.
Yeah,
perfect.
Just to slip back, not to take away from Billy, but going back to your thing about, did you think it was maybe just ovulation and it looked like gravid? So I took a picture of the big female rink and she looks ugly as sin. And I was like, man, she looks really ugly. Like, why does she look so ugly? And I started looking, I was like, wow, she's really thick, like thick with 3 C's thick. Right. And like even in her neck, and I was just like, this is not basking behavior. Like this is not flattened out for basking.
Right.
I'm convinced this is an ovulation. Look at this photo, especially since you can see her tail like drop off. And this is about 10 days out from her last feeding before I was about to feed her.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's 3 C's, all right.
And like that, she
like
does not
tiger snake.
She does not look that thick normally. Normally she has a very lean appearance. And I really do regulate her feeding just because I don't want her to get fat and not be able to ovulate, live bearing.
Put a male in there?
No, but she's right on top of him. So I did, but I didn't. So I put shed in there, his shed. And then like 2 or 3 weeks went by. I took the shed out and then I stuck him in there. He was like, oh my God, what am I doing? Why am I here? Get me out. And then she was like, why is this dude in my house? Get him out. Make him leave. I don't want him here. Meanwhile,
scrubs.
Yeah, there was no combat between them. There was no aggression between them. She was focused on me mostly. He was just trying to get out. So after a little while, I separated them because like, this is dumb. They're clearly not happy. And then this photo got taken. So
see, I don't know though, because I've done that I've noticed that with chondros and some corns and some of the Bairds and pretty much anything like those initial introductions. One of the two is almost always not into it, and it usually takes a little while for them to sort of understand what's going on. Like, chondros in particular, like I'll put a male in with one of the females, and the female is not into it, but the male is like automatically he knows like what's going on, so he's like, what's up?
Right.
But some of the like the rhinos at first, putting them together before I started cohabbing them, like female was freaking out because the male was there, and he automatically was like, oh, there's girls in here, like let's go. Started chasing her immediately. So I think it is like that initial, you're going to get that initial reaction from one of the two most of the time. And I think it's if it's the male, I think it's usually like with chondros, it's a younger male that doesn't, it's a first time breeder or something, just doesn't have a clue.
Yeah, and I was pretty confident with the two of them not being mean to each other because the person who had them before me cohabbed them. They just lived together. But he had no idea what he was doing. He just fed them like crazy and got them fat quick, and he never cooled them or anything. So like there was no chance of him producing anything. But at least I had the confidence to know that they had been together before and were fine. This exact pair.
Yeah.
My whole thing was I couldn't hang around long enough to like, all right, so as I'm introducing, my thought is, okay, if they lock up, great. If they don't, in say 20, 30 minutes, I'm going to pull them apart because I can't babysit. I don't have the time to do that. And I feel like that was a big mistake on my part because I should have hung out. I should have waited until I had time to do it and not half-ass it. You know what I mean? And then my third option was, well, if they go in there and they just are indifferent to each other, then I'll just leave them overnight and just see what happens. And obviously we know what happened. I separated them and that was the end of it. So
Well, what's the issue if you do leave them together indefinitely?
With the reaction that she gave and his franticness, I would be worried that she'd kill him.
Like just act like out accidentally? Like
no, like get out of my cage. I don't want you here. This is my hole in the dirt.
Okay.
And she can't escape. He can't escape. And eventually she'll be so aggro because she's so defensive that she would either bite him so many times that he would be definitively injured, or even bite him and try and consume him because she's slightly larger than him, but she's definitely thicker than he is. So, and I've seen it too many times where snakes are the same size, one eats the other one despite being the same size, realizes that they literally bit off more than they can chew, and then regurgitates the cage mate, and the death was for naught, so.
So what if you put them together and then get a wise camera or something and just keep an eye on them, even if you're still at home, like that way you're not disturbing.
Well, and then see
constantly.
That's something I want to do. I've just been procrastinating it, and to be honest, that time I was not going to be home. I had to leave and do things, and wasn't even sleeping there that night, I think. So, but
you can get those cameras at PetSmart now, by the way.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
You don't have to order them on Amazon. And I think price-wise, they're pretty close. I think they're probably a little more expensive at PetSmart, if I'm not mistaken. But I think you're talking a difference of like $5.
Yeah, that's good.
So
that's good. Well, and at the same time, they're a huge pain in the ass to cohab just because of what they are. I got a pair of Trans-Pecos coppers cohabbed since I don't even know, this past summer, right? Whenever I got them, and I can't tell if she's good or not. And it's just been the natural cycle of the room.
Well,
but I can't tell. Like they're tough, man. Like you don't know if
are they fall breeders too, like pygmies?
No, I think that, well, yeah, if you want to call them a fall breeder, I would call them a fall breeder. They're more like subox, where like babies are born, like from what I've seen, and Keller, he's bred them. He could probably chime in more. I thought they were like Christmas babies or like Thanksgiving babies. You know what I mean? Could be even midsummer. I don't remember. Keller, are you there? We're talking about Trans-Pecos.
Oh, it's past his bedtime. He went to sleep.
That is true.
His back started to hurt because it was raining.
He's 18 natty. He's 18 natty lights in. Yeah.
Natty daddies.
Natty daddies. Yeah. First third notes on the knuckle sandwich, Guy Fieri. Not too shabby, man. Not too shabby. Holding the heat well, not creeping. Good consistent burn, good draw. I'm in.
I'm kind of upset that they didn't name it Flavortown or something similar.
Yeah, I know, right?
Opportunity.
I know. And if it is produced by Espinosa, I feel like they did a bang up job.
Espinosa makes good stuff, man. For a while, I was like, all these like their labels are usually kind of cheap, like cheaply made, like they just kind of look kind of second rate a little bit, like. But then you smoke them, and damn it if they aren't delicious, you know. They make good stuff.
And this band is not cheap, man. It's good foil paper. It's the paper itself is like a
Pokemon card.
Yeah, but it's got the like embossment to it. Like you can feel the letters and styling. So it's good. I like it. Billy, what are you drinking?
What do you got? What are you doing?
Yeah, I got some Jameson.
Nice.
Just relaxing.
Just relaxing. Snakes and
Yeah, nothing
stogies is
crazy.
what we do.
Right? It's been too long.
Smoke, drink, herp.
Is it like a Billy Hunt Jameson pour, or is it like?
No, it's a normal one.
Oh, okay.
I got work early in the morning, so I can't go crazy.
Fair enough. So
Because every time I get a drink from Billy at Daytona, he's like, "Yeah, man, I got you," and then it's like a splash of whatever it's supposed to be, and then all Jameson. Or
it's just a fifth.
yeah,
That's it.
Well,
Just-
I can't drive back with the half bottle of liquor.
You sound like Dominique.
Well, gotta do something with it.
Yeah, my favorite Dominique line. They won't let me fly with this little bit of tequila in this bottle. You might as well finish it.
Hey, that's what we're there for, right?
you can't even argue with it because she's not.
I know. She's
Can't
not
even
wrong.
be like, can't even call her out on it.
I know.
I'll make sure I make you a good one this year, Smitty.
Oh God.
Oh God. Well, Billy is due to come on the show, and Billy, the Snake Master, has been dipping his toe in creatures with legs. Phrasing.
Yeah,
Billy got the lizard bug, man,
I did.
and the
Sure
toad
did.
bug hard.
Yeah, it's only gonna get worse.
It's only going to get worse. So you'd mentioned that
At
you
what
had.
point did you decide to sell out?
Whoa!
Yikes!
Easy.
You know, we'll just go past that. What I'd compare it to, Smitty, is like
I feel like there was
how
a corn snake
corns-
joke there.
There was a corn
Well,
snake
here,
joke.
here I go. Well, not a joke, but just like how when you were coming up and corns were like the thing when you were younger and got you into it and all that. That's what lizards and stuff are for me. So I got an opportunity in Tinley, and I pulled the trigger on some Chinese water dragons. I had those growing up. They were super fun. You guys know I've talked about sail fins forever. That is based on me having water dragons growing up. So, yeah. So Phil, I've been keeping Phil in the loop with everything, and he's enabling me on a lot of things.
Oh yeah. That's what we do to each other. It's bad.
Sure is. Yeah. Phil
So
has
bad.
toads now
So,
too. Yeah.
I didn't realize how big the water dragons got until Jake and I stopped at Extreme Exotics in Jacksonville because they had a Chinese and they had an Australian.
Oh yeah.
They were adults, and I was like, they were just like beefier than I thought they got. I guess maybe it's because I'm so used to seeing just babies and stuff that I don't really like. You see pictures of adults, but you don't have a whole lot of context, and so
Yeah.
seeing the
Yeah,
adults,
the males.
that's actually it's an impressive lizard
For sure.
Yeah, they're probably. I mean, you're looking at like 3.5 feet, but like 2 feet of that is 2.5 feet of that is all tail.
right?
Would
But the
you
males,
say
they
that
get those big jowls and
Mm-hmm.
the spikes, and they
Yeah,
are
like the
impressive.
subtle blues and stuff that it had on it. I was
and
like,
the
oh my
pinks?
god, yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
the pinks.
Yeah, it's hard to. I'm raising one up right now. Well, you guys know me, so of course I didn't just get the ones that I got in Tinley. I got hatchlings in Tinley, and then just how luck would have it, I end up coming across adults, and so I have a trio of adults, and I have the two that I'm raising up. And one of the ones I'm raising up, hatchlings, she's starting to get all the turquoise banding going up her sides, and then just under, like I guess her armpit is what you call it. And she has a lot of orange coming.
Oh
in,
wow.
but she's showing the female features, so she's not getting that huge crest, not getting super big spikes. So I'm having high hopes for her that she's going to be a really nice female.
Hell yeah. And dude, Chris Parr says next thing he'll be sending me Jap rats and blue beauties for more lizard space. you want to tell him what he just got?
Yeah. Well, gee, what are? Yeah, it's hard
No,
to keep track of
we'll
everything,
come
but
back
yeah.
to Jap rats.
Yeah,
We'll come back
come
to Jap
to all
rats.
that. Yeah.
Just for Chris, it'll make Chris stay the whole show.
Yeah. I talk to him all the time, and it's
Well, let me ask you this.
Another
So
name
on
for it.
the I saw one time a large adult male Chinese water dragon, and it was one of those like puppy dog tame ones where like if you wanted to pose it on a lounge chair, you could, you know. And
Yeah, that guy.
as they used to do in Reptiles magazine,
Yeah.
dude, crazy pink, crazy jowls, but I dude, the thing was chunky. It was like a big adult male bearded. Is that the same? Are we talking about the same lizard, or was that just like a freak one?
No, so when you get like super mature males that, have some age to them and stuff, yeah, they can get really beefy and they're a lot bigger than the females. So the one male that I have right now, he's about the size of an adult female, but compared to the other two females I have, like his jowls are getting bigger and he has more color and his spikes are, really prominent and all that.
Nice.
So I'm sure in the next few years, as he gets more size on him and all that kind of stuff, he's gonna explode. And I'm also so Phil, I'm gonna get some Aussie waters in Daytona. I've already talked to Eddie about that, got that figured out.
Hell yeah.
Um, so I'm gonna be making an outdoor enclosure for them once they get some size to them. But I'm also thinking about making one for part of the year for the Chinese water dragons too, so that and kind of see them in the natural light and kind of see some natural behaviors and see the real colors that can come out and stuff. So I'm sure once I do that, and they just start eating like crazy, and who knows what they'll eat out there once they're outdoors. I'm sure they'll
Just a
put on a lot of
belly
size,
belly full of anoles.
probably. Anoles and Cuban tree frogs.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh man. So you've been doing enclosures too, like just getting ready, right?
Yeah. So I slimmed down on the Python stuff. Um, it was just there really wasn't a reason to have, 150 breeder carpets. I guess I finally hit the wall. You know how like
Just
we all hit that
pissed
wall
off
at some
so
point?
many people.
Yeah. So it is what it is. But I've always liked diversity a lot and all that. So and then obviously diving into all the old world rats and stuff, decisions had to be made. So
Yeah.
um
But you still
I
got
do
carpets, man.
yeah, yeah, no, I still have stuff. It's just not the on the scale that I did, you know. Um but yeah, I've got a bunch of PVC enclosures that I'm putting together. One of my neighbors just cut down a tree, so I was like, "Hey, way to get them branches, man!"
Perfect.
Yeah,
It
so
was an
that
oak,
that
right?
worked out. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
dude.
I've got my
Massive
whole
oak.
front porch. Like you've seen my front porch, Phil, plenty of
Yeah.
times. Half of it is all wood, right? Oh, you saw the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's ridiculous, but yeah, I got 8 4-footers, 11 2-foot cubes. I got a few 3-footers,
Wow.
and then the outdoor enclosure. I'm just gonna use one of my 8x4 raised garden beds, and I'm gonna use that as the base, and then just do like a 8-foot tall enclosure for some water dragons there.
Hell yeah. Dude, 8 foot. That's gonna be taller than the fence line, right?
It's gonna be right about there, but I want it to be where I could comfortably like make a door and walk in it.
Oh, cool.
That was my thing. So when I was gonna put a greenhouse there years ago, 8 foot was what I decided because that's just under the roof and gutter line. So it'll still be shielded, like we have hurricanes or something like that. That little nook that's there in
Mhm.
my backyard,
Yeah.
it it'll get shielded from a lot of the wind and debris and all that.
Cool.
Are
Good
you? What
stuff,
are you
man.
doing? Are you planning? How are you gonna like raccoon proof it?
I'm just gonna pretty much. So I've been talking to Jason a lot about that. Uh, Pretty much just there's ways to use the hardware cloth to like really secure it, make sure that
Mhm.
it's good. So if you take it to a corner, instead of just going to the corner and it being one flat piece, take that piece and like kind of angle it on the 90-degree on the other side. And then if you do that and interlock all of them, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of. Yeah, so do that, and then when you do your screws and washers and all that, that makes it really, tight and strong and all that. And I'm going to try to make, uh, I want hardware cloth on the bottom too, to where, because they're going to dig, that's just what they do.
Yeah.
So just so they can't get out and then nothing else can get in as well. That I'd be worried about.
Now, those flower beds, are they obviously they're elevated, but like, how do I phrase this? Is there a gap between the actual like soil of the earth and the bottom of the bed, or is just the bed go down to earth?
The only barrier I put was some cardboard
Okay.
from boxes. I did just the basic whenever you start a garden bed type of
Mhm.
thing. You just do that to smother all the weeds so nothing comes up through the soil you put in. Um, so that's all I put there. So besides that, because who knows, that could have broke down already. It probably did. But that's why I want to put the hardware cloth. I remember that from Agama International when I first got into it, like in the early 2000s. That's what Bert did with all of his enclosures. He would dig down 2 feet deep and then line it with hardware cloth so that when it got below freezing, they could dig down and get where they needed to, but they would never get out.
Yeah, they
So
couldn't dig through the cloth.
yeah, so
And then
that's
it's
something I've always
also
had in my head. Yeah.
it's also porous enough that you won't have flooding. It could still seep through appropriately.
Yeah, it'll either be a quarter inch or half inch. It won't be anything crazy, but yeah, it'll be
Okay.
plenty to. Yeah, that won't be an issue.
Yeah, because that was always my thing with like people that did outdoor enclosures, whether it be for iguanas. I mean, it's usually green iguanas, but they do an outdoor enclosure and they do that black vinyl garden bed liner.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah, no, I'm
like,
not doing that.
dude, like the cages would flood and like it would get ripped, and then you'd see black plastic flapping around in there. And yeah, I never liked that.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna do that. It's gonna. I mean, they're reptiles. I mean, they're
Yeah.
gonna be fine.
Yeah.
It's not gonna. If they touch some natural sandy soil here, it's not gonna be the end of the world.
Yeah.
So,
Right. I was actually gonna tell you gotta hit up Tyler Brooks, because I feel like what you want to do with the flower beds for the dragons is essentially what he's got going on for the
Cayman lizards?
no, why can I not remember the
Rhino
lizard's
iguanas?
damn name, the damn name, the dame,
the dame. What you name out here?
oh my god, why can I not remember the lizard that has a prehensile tail and I can't remember
Monkey
its
tail skinks.
Monkey
yes, but
skinks.
no, what's the real name? That's good because I
Prehensile.
forgot that.
Prehensile monkey skinks.
No, the genera.
Oh,
I don't remember.
Oh god, this is gonna kill me. Anyway, monkey tail skinks. Thank you.
Zebra something. It starts with this. There's a Z in there somewhere.
I don't remember now. Now I feel stupid. Anyway, monkey tail skinks. His enclosures are very much like what you're describing, and you definitely should pick his brain because Lord knows he probably has a lot of critters trying to break into. So
yeah, that's why I haven't completely rushed into it. I've wanted to and just get something put up, but I want to do it right the first time. So I've been talking to some people and kind of getting a little bit here and there. And one of the biggest things that I want to try to figure out is the water container. So I have an idea to kind of have it elevated off the soil line, and I'm thinking maybe like a box or something, but I want to run a drain pipe to it that I can run to the outside of the cage so I can drain it without having to physically pick it up and do that every single day, because I mean they're pretty messy lizards.
yeah,
I had something like that years ago when I had a water dragon here in the house. Um, I got a big entertainment center, and it had it was 2 sections, and the bottom section I kept storage and stuff. But I did that. I drilled a hole through the water tub and the cage itself, the floor of the cage, and then I just had a little spigot there. And
bulkhead.
it made, yeah, well, no, just a drain, just
Oh,
PVC
okay,
pipes and turn valve, just a
nice,
simple gate valve, and had a 5-gallon bucket, underneath it, and it made water changes so easy.
nice.
So, I mean, it's just like anything else. The easier you make things on yourself, maintenance wise, the more smoother it's going to be, the better you'll take care of things and all that
Oh,
kind of
for
stuff.
sure.
and I want to use a pretty big, water basin because I'm going to have groups of these things in there. So I'm thinking at least one of the big concrete mixing tubs, like
Yeah.
the 3-foot ones, at least
Mhm.
that. If not, if I could find something bigger, that'd be cool. But if I don't have to climb in and pick that up and dump it every day, that'd be awesome too. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's one
Yeah.
of the
And
things I'm really trying to figure out how I'm going to do it realistically and make it secure and what I want and clean and all that kind of stuff.
nice. And real quick, everyone who's listening on their way home from work, screaming the word Karusha at the radio, that's what we're talking about. Karusha zebrata. So monkey tail skink. Sorry.
I knew it had zebra in there.
Yeah,
somewhere.
everyone in the group chat's like Karusha, zebrata, Karusha. Damn, I autocorrect.
Nipper's going to
So.
be disappointed.
I know, right? He will be. Tyler's gonna be disappointed when he listens to it. Like, what the hell, man? But that's a great idea, those cement mixing tubs, because dude, trying to do like kitty litter pans, like that's just such a pain, man. Especially when substrate and debris and leaves and stuff get in there. What's Mike
Thanks,
saying?
Mike. I'll definitely look into that.
Hagen Laguna tubs. Interesting. Gotta Google that.
Thanks, Mike. I'll definitely look into those. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Rob Christian joins the chat and says, Billy, that Amazon, all in caps. Is that just our segue into tree boas?
If we want it to be.
But seriously, I think those cement mixing tubs is an awesome idea, especially doing the hinge valve on there and stuff. And like, that's always my thing is, yeah, I want it to look amazing, but I also don't want to kill myself every time something takes a crap or a bunch of leaves fall in there or whatever. So like when you do the outdoor enclosures and you're doing the cement mixer, are you going to is it going to be removable at all, or are you just going to have to like scrub, rinse, purge, scrub, rinse, purge, or can you physically like remove the thing and like hose it out?
So the idea in my head that I have at the moment is I want to make a box of some sort, maybe just like a simple wooden box or whatever, that I can elevate off the soil line to where I can run the drain pipe underneath it and then through it to the side of the cage, and then just I could just pop a couple links in the hardware cloth and then just seal it. But also have the box be functional as a hide that they could get into if they want. Try to make things as, if you can make one thing work for multiple things for you, in my mind, that makes things, you're getting more out of whatever you're using. There you go. I can't think of the word. But with that, just use a jigsaw to get, a insert cut out, and then I should be able to still pick it up and have some type of connection that wouldn't be hard to release and then put back on.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's
very. But that's why I'm not rushing into it, because I still got to figure out all that stuff and what the right connections would be and all that. Because I could do all this and then it's like permanent. Now I do have to do the wash and purge.
Yeah. Yeah, that was always tedious for me. Like before, like for example, a buddy of mine had I think it was like a 75-gallon tall that he cut bulkheads into one side and then siliconed in like a dock wall, if that makes sense. Yeah. So like half of the tank was soil and dirt with no drainage layer. That way he could just scrape it and dump it if he had to. And then the other half was just glass bottom, fully aquatic. And dude, he was always in there with like a toilet scrubbing brush, just like hammering the algae, because it's the algae's on the dock wall and it looked weird, and you couldn't get one of those magnet fish tank scrapers. So then he's running the garden hose through his patio door of his backyard into his living room, filling the thing up with 8 to 10 inches of water, scrubbing the hell out of it with chlorhexidine, then purging it into a 5-gallon bucket. So it's smart to plan ahead, measure twice, cut once.
Yeah, well, like in that situation, what ends up happening is eventually you're like, oh, I'll get to it next time. I'll get to it next, and then it gets to a point, like especially with fish tanks. I've had fish tanks growing up, and Saltwater is bad about that when they get like the coralline algae, the pink and white
Oh yeah.
kind of crusty, hard deposit stuff. If you're not on top of that, good luck. That's
Yeah.
going to be there forever, you know. So,
Dude, my little 5 gallon with the mangrove and the one fish in my bathroom. Dude, I have been trying so hard to maintain the mineral line on the top of the water, and this is where the bougie joke comes in. The only water that has ever been in that tank is Fiji bottled water. But regardless, it has natural minerals. It does. So as that shit evaporates, it still makes a hard mineral line. And like,
yeah.
dude, it's tough. It's to the point now where I kept forgetting to do the backside. So the backside has like a little crust wall at the top. And I'm like, I have to get a razor blade and just actually scrape it. So
That's the only way you'll get it off, man.
yeah, and like come to think of it, talking about my buddy who had the 50/50 tank, he wound up just scrapping the whole project after like a year. He's like, I'm done with this. Because he wasn't one of those guys he wasn't like me where he's like, oh, I'll do it later. And then it just builds up and builds up. No, he was doing it religiously every, 3 or 4 days, whatever it was. And he's like, dude, after a year, I'm sick of it. I'm done. So I think it was some kind of monitor or something. He wound up just using a kitty litter pan. So
yeah, well that's why I'm trying to make sure that every little thing makes sense, and nothing will be perfect, and you still have to take care of the things and do that. But the easier you can make it on yourself, the more enjoyable you'll get out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh man. So besides the Chinese waters, you got a couple other lizards too recently, right?
I got one.
Let's hear it.
Let's hear it. The Chinese cave gecko.
Yes, he's in the club.
Yeah, as Jason said, I sold out and got into geckos.
Nice.
Somehow.
I love it. I love it.
So I've always wanted those. I guess going back to when I was younger and first got into it with the leopard geckos and all that. I remember seeing my first one, and I mean, the first time you see one, it's a black gecko with red eyes. I mean, how awesome is that?
Dude. It's Darth Maul gecko. I love it.
Yeah, so I always thought they were out of my realm just because of their temperature requirements and stuff. Pretty much just like a lot of the old world stuff that I've ended up with, that I've realized, oh, you can actually keep these in, some of the spots in my house that I'm keeping stuff in. So I decided at the last Lakeland show a couple weeks ago, Tiki's geckos had one left, and I was like, you know what, let me try it out. Because I've been talking to Chris Paint Shab for a while now about him, and he's he's an enabler too, man.
He's horrible about it.
The worst.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Smitty, didn't you and Jake get your Chinese caves from him?
Jake got them from him, and then I got them from Jake.
Okay, so there we go.
Yeah, I mean, a gecko that you can keep at room temp, and you don't feed that often. Just make sure they, their humidity stays up, and just kind of set it and forget it type of thing. And I always thought they were way out of my realm, kind of just like the rhinos. And I get one in hand, and I'm like,
it's funny that they're like the complete opposite of what you think they're going to be.
Yeah, so much wasted time.
Well, dude, I feel like that's our generation got. I don't want to say brainwashed, but like the generation before us was like, oh yeah, man, those rhino rats, dude, they're tough, man. You gotta like feed them fish and shit. Like, you know what I mean? It was that generation. Well, I think
you see them and they look so exotic, and so because they look the way they do, you're like, those must be delicate. Like those must be difficult.
Well, too, I think a lot of people, the generation before us, all they had were imports.
Yeah.
So that's what they're going off of. So like now, they like mandarin rats. Back in the day, oh man, those things die awesome. They do great when they die.
Yeah.
Now you don't hear about anyone having issues with them because figuring them out and breeding them and all that. So I think a lot of those things that used to have that tag on them don't have it anymore because figuring them out, and captive bred is always going to be harder. So.
I never forget when I first, like the first week I ever worked at Underground in the retail store, somebody dropped off a mandarin rat that they were like, look, this thing isn't eating. I can't get it to do anything. Like, I'm afraid, like, here, but take it back. And I remember the manager at the time was like, hey, don't put this thing on display. Bring it over to the warehouse and we'll like keep it sequestered and we'll just
fridge.
We'll keep it sequestered and we'll try and put it on fauna classifieds and see if we get lucky, because it was just, they had this stigma. Like, it's just, it's extremely expensive. Nobody knows what it is and it's going to die. So we need to find an owner who knows what it is real quick and is willing to roll the dice, which now we know is not the case.
Yeah, it just takes time. And now a lot of the stuff I have, I used to always be like, man, I'm not, that's an advanced species, I can't do that. And
we're grown-ups. It sucks.
yeah, right now
I think chondros still have a lot of that attached to them, though.
Yeah, I think so too.
You still see articles and videos of people talking about how chondros are really delicate. Chondros can't, they're for the advanced keeper.
Well, I think with chondros, it depends on where in the country you're at too.
Yeah.
Like, we're pretty fortunate being in the Southeast. Like, when I had mine, I had them in my snake room with, like, I just ran ambient and I raised them, bred them, got babies, hatched, the whole deal. Then you see guys that are, up north or whatever, and they got to do so much extra crap. And it's, so maybe that's it. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it also comes down to people sticking to that care sheet template of heat lamp on the right, UV on the left, water bowl on the left, hide rock on the right. If you don't do that, it's going to die, and then it dies anyway because you did that.
So a buddy of mine that's local here, he actually was the neighbor of one of my old captains at work, and got into contact through them. And he has a stellar collection. I forget how to say his last name. It's Tony M over here, and reached out, and he's like, yeah, man, I'm not having any luck with these guys. I got all these awesome snakes and I want to produce stuff. And he was that, not in a bad way, but he was that neurotic chondro guy that everything had to be perfect to the 10th of a degree and humidity, spot on and all that. And I told him, like, dude, I neglect mine. I don't really
stop caring and you'll be successful.
Yeah, I'm like, the first ones I produced, I did maternal incubation. Like, I like, just stop, just relax, and just let fluctuation happen. Let it do what it's gonna do. They're not as fragile as you think, and he's cranking out as many clutches as he wants every year now.
Nice.
So sometimes it's better to just kind of let things do their own thing instead of micromanaging every aspect of their husbandry.
Is it Tony? Is it Mauricio? I think is his last name.
It's something like that. Yeah, something. He's got a killer collection, man.
Yeah,
he's got a bunch of
he's been doing really well
stuff and Rico stuff. Yeah. This was probably, oh crap, he's probably 6 or 7 years ago.
Okay.
When I talked to him and stuff, and yeah, he's always in Daytona, so I'm sure you probably know him if you saw him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's
Scott,
good.
Scott Ebbers in the chat, he says they're advanced. Well, I can't talk tonight. There are advanced keeper mindsets, not advanced species. And then he says iron range fluctuates like hell. So
yeah,
there you go. Yeah,
they can handle a lot more than we give them, but
yeah. Mike Stefani says best advice, sometimes we need to get out of our own way. And that's so true. So
true story.
Yeah. Actually, I was talking to somebody the other day, and providing that this one snake is a boy, I should be able to do subox this coming summer. And I think I'm going to bookshelf the eggs. I think I got the temps dialed in enough that I can get away with a 10-degree drop at night and the eggs will be okay. Just because I think about like them in the wild. And
10 degrees from what?
Like 85 down to say 72 or even 75.
75 I'd be comfortable with. Yeah, 72 would make me a little more nervous, but
I did Ridley Eye at 75 to 80.
No.
Oh wow. Okay.
So yeah,
Yeah, I
It'll
pretty
just
much
take longer. That's all.
rock anything colubrid related. I just put it in the incubator at 80. Call it a
Yeah,
day.
because I was just because like I don't have my incubator anymore. It took a shit and I threw it away. And I was thinking, I was like, man, I need to get an incubator if I want to try and do this summer. And excuse me, and I was like, man, I wonder if I could probably bookshelf, because like I'm thinking about like these Christmas snakes, like snakes born like first, second week in December, and like it's got to be in the 60s. I mean, granted, that's not below ground where the eggs are per se, or like in a nook or cranny where the eggs are, but it still ain't 84 or 82.
Well, have you put a Govee in the spot that you're thinking about putting them to see where that sits during the day and at night?
Yeah, that's it's one of the so I have one on the south side of the room that's the hottest side, and I'm getting consistent, 8 to 11 or 12 degree night drops every night.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's nothing out of the realm of what they'd experience naturally. I think there.
yeah.
I
There's
did.
one way to find out. Yeah.
I shelved a clutch of corns last year, and it felt like they took forever.
Yeah,
But
but
it's
your
also
room's like
because-
71, 72, right?
Well, like where I had them, there's an air vent, and I have one of those little diverter, like plastic magnetic diverter things, so that it's
Yeah.
not blowing directly on the top of this rack that I have a bunch of stuff in.
Right.
And that air was getting diverted towards those eggs because that was like the highest point that I could put them in the room, because it's that giant Cambro rack at the time. So they were probably on the cooler side of things most of the time during incubation, but having the incubator, I don't know. We were talking about it in the Cornstars chat the other day. Like I like to just have them all consistently at the one temperature, and if I've got it set up and rolling already, it's not gonna.
Yeah.
Why bother? So.
Yeah, it makes sense. And who knows, man? Maybe in the next 4 or 5 months, I'll buy an incubator. I don't know. Maybe I'll bother Chris Nettles at Daytona.
You should anyway.
No, we have to. It's like a rule. So, oh man, group chat is going crazy.
Rob
I can't
Christian's
see it on
produce
the
more
iPad.
Focatees.
These Focatees.
Yeah, they're like Oketees, but they're not like, I don't think they're like specific line or anything.
Oh,
like that.
okay.
They're just really good looking Oketees, so he calls them Focatees.
That's cool.
I think it's great.
Well, speaking of Rob creeping it real, you want to tell us about your recent Amazonian acquisitions, Billy?
Yes. Yes, I do. So
I was kind of waiting for you to just like pull one out.
yeah, right. That'd
Yeah.
be cool.
You mean this?
You mean
Yeah, what,
this? These? Jeremy Turgeon, eat your heart out.
Hands are all bloody.
Yeah.
He's like, talking to
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll love nips, right?
Yeah.
I've been slowly amassing a group of Amazons the past couple years. So
You mean 6 months?
no, it's actually
No, I
this
know,
is
I
like
know.
the
for
one.
a while.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I
this
just
is
like
the one thing that usually I'm like all in right away. So
you've been a good boy about pacing yourself.
with the Amazons, yeah.
Yes, with the Amazons, correct.
Yeah. So was it a couple of weeks ago? There was a post in an Amazon group in the on Facebook that basically this guy had in Oakland, California, had a litter that's like, hey, I think I've exhausted all the local people that want to buy from me. Here's what I got. I haven't done shipping before, but I'm interested in moving these out. So I was at work, and like 10 minutes after, like once I saw it, after 10 minutes, freaking Jeremy was like PM sent, another guy was like PM sent. I was like, oh, well, there goes that. 'Cause this guy had killer tigers that he had on there. There was 2 bicolors. One bicolor was like fluorescent orange, and he had pictures of the parents, and the dad had like orange and red stripes on it. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be gorgeous. So I threw my hat in the ring and PM the guy, and like an hour later got one back, and he had them numbered. So I was like, hey, is this number and this number still available? And it's like, yeah. I was like, holy crap. I'm like, oh my gosh, Jeremy, because Jeremy freaking gets everything. Freaking guy pisses me off every time. I'm trying to like get into some things to where he doesn't think, oh, thanks, man. That's nice. Um, so long story short, I offered to send a label. I made a video on how I would set up a shipping box. Like I tried to give as much support as I could.
Yeah.
And I guess after I did all that, the person reached out to Jeremy because Jeremy basically was like, hey, like just check out Redline, they'll set you up and it's really not hard and all that. Well, I guess they they ghosted Jeremy and decided to go with me. And well, Phil's heard it. I got a voice memo from Jeremy the next day once he realized I ended up getting that animal. And it was, I mean, it's all in good fun because we're all like in the same group. We're all gonna swap babies anyway.
Yeah, the best way to describe it as an outsider was the most expletive love message ever.
That's exactly what it was.
It was just a lot of bleeps followed with "I love you," but bleep 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 bleep.
Congratulations,
Congratulations,
you, man.
yeah,
But
yeah,
congrats! I'm so happy for you. Yeah. So it actually, it just got settled at 8 for the first time today for me. So
Hell
first
yeah.
try, all that. I ended up getting that one and a garden tiger because I'm really digging the garden and Halloween stuff.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna try to kind of dig into that stuff a little more because I think there's so many different looks in both of those phenotypes that there's just so much we don't know. It's just like the Pacillinotus, like there's so many things that we just haven't figured out yet. We just got to hone it in. So
sure.
Yeah, sounds good anyway. So.
One thing I was going to ask you that I keep forgetting, and I know Rob's still in the chat. Maybe he could chime in too. And I know Randy's in here too. I don't know if Randy's still around, but Randy would definitely know. But has anyone done like, I don't know if this would even work, but doing like Halloween type with like leopard to get the like leopard patterning, but still have the orange? Is that even like doable, you think?
So not an expert on Amazons by
dude, it's tough with those snakes.
Yeah, so my understanding, anyone in the chat, correct me if I'm wrong.
I hope Randy's still here. Randy will fire off.
Yeah, leopard is recessive, as far as I know. And obviously, guys have tried to, inject color into those animals for many generations. It hasn't worked.
Okay.
I think Dayton Croton he has the ligers, the leopard tigers.
Yeah.
And even they have that same color scheme that the leopards have.
Okay.
They don't get there's no bicolors or orange or tricolors or anything like that. Now there is a local guy. He kind of disappeared. Taylor Gilbert.
Okay.
He got a maclot from me when I produced a whole bunch of them, and he was really big into the boas and stuff. I think his cousin has Gilbert's boas. He's like a big boa constrictor guy. He has his own T positive albino line and all that real high-end stuff. It's
nice.
Once I realized who he was, I was like, holy crap, man. Like that's awesome. But he was talking to me a little bit, and he was kind of spitballing ideas on how he thought things were inherited and all that. And he was going as far as he would get pictures from breeders and animals from around the country, across the world, all that. He was basically making lineage charts.
Oh wow.
So once he started talking in that verbiage, I'm like, dude, that's Morelia all day.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
And he started breaking things down, and he's like, well, like look at bicolors that thank you, Randy. Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Randy says that it has not been seen as of yet to his knowledge. Rob says leopard is tied to the gray and dark color scheme. And then Randy also chimed in saying Halloween/garden is also recessive. So that makes sense.
So. Yeah. So there, so we look at And it was when I talked to Taylor that it's kind of made sense, because you look at all these different things. You think of like normals or wild types or whatever, and we always, as a hobby, think of those as, just normals. It's still There's still mutations there. There's still things that those just the ones that work the best in their environment and their where they're at. So when you start looking at it like that, like everything has mutations going to it. Which when you say it out loud, you're like, well, yeah, duh. But you don't think about it. You say, oh, it's just a normal. Oh, it's
Yeah.
boring. It's just a normal whatever. But if you start to break everything down, which is what we're gonna have to do with the Amazons, like especially with the gardens and Halloweens, like Randy said, uh, there's so much more to it. And for how long did we say gardens and Halloweens were interchangeable and the same thing? And oh, they're just the boring gray ones, so I'll be in the same bin, and nobody really cared. But if you start looking at all the different phenotypes that come within that, like just garden itself, you'll have dark ones, you'll have super light ones, you'll see ones that look like uh, ash, like they're almost metallic
Yeah.
looking.
Like the maroon striping, maroon saddling.
Yeah, like I have a Halloween tiger, which honestly that might be one of my favorite tiger looks. Those are like they're just so dark and mean looking, and
Yeah.
they're just really cool looking. But they are born with the orange on them, right? That's a big tail of the Halloween stuff. But as they get older, that orange goes away and it turns into white, to where they're a black and white snake. So if you just see an adult, you're like, well, hey, what's going on here? Like there's so much that we don't know.
Yeah.
So it's fun to really be, involved in that and kind of see what happens. But
for sure. Scott chimed in, says usually pattern markers are different to pigment markers, but can affect the distribution, particularly if the same pigment that causes that particularly if it is the same pigment that causes the pattern. Okay. Pattern markers are different to pigment markers, but can affect the distribution, particularly if it is the same pigment that causes the pattern. Very cool.
Okay. Well, I sent you some pictures. I don't know if
on Facebook Messenger.
I did to your text.
Okay, let me see if it got through on the messages yet. Hold on. Sometimes it's a little slow.
I remember Mike Heinrich.
Where's my text messages?
Whatever happened to that guy?
Who was that?
Mike Heinrich in like the early
2000s.
2000s. He was a big Amazon guy.
Yeah, he was big in the Amazon Alliance.
Yes.
I've heard some second and third hand stuff, but I don't think I'm at liberty to say anything. I don't think he's doing Amazons anymore.
I mean, I haven't seen him in forever. So
I remember him doing like goofy videos. Remember those where like he's like sitting at his kitchen table, he's like eating cereal and like has an Amazon with him and stuff, and just everything he was doing. It was just a goofball. But
Billy, can you send me those on Facebook Messenger, because it's not letting me use the text right now?
Yeah. No.
When are you breeding rhinos?
What am I? Maybe next season. No, I want to set them up in the new cages I have, and
yeah, they're almost at size, right, bro?
yeah, they're close.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see more of those little horned bastards popping out of eggs.
I want to get more for my group. They're such cool snakes. I echo everything you say about them whenever I talk to people. I know when I first started talking to Joe, like that was one of the first things we started talking about. I'm like, why don't you have one yet? Like, what are you doing? Because that was another one I thought was so advanced and all that. And they're probably one of the hardiest snakes that you can keep.
Yeah. Like something that cool should not be that easy.
No, not at all.
Like it doesn't.
And I mean,
doesn't make sense.
They're arboreal. You can hold them. They're chill. Like they check every box that they shouldn't check, and it's
I've got 2 younger ones that are not chill. I need to start kind of working with them a little more.
All right, what are we looking at, Billy?
So that is the garden tiger.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's crazy how it fades out so quick.
Yeah, and two, said those were born in October, so like they're still really young, and curious to see how much, if any, that it's going to change. Uh, I think those, at least from what I've seen, kind of seem to be like an afterthought for people because everybody wants the oranges and the reds and the calicos, which rightfully so, but I don't know, to take a more naturally colored animal, and I mean, with a stripe, I'm all in no matter what.
Yeah.
So,
I've always loved how clean the tigers are.
Yeah. They're
so sharp looking.
Yeah, how many I have? I have like 4 or 5, and each one of them are just, it's insane how nice they are. And that is a picture from the ad or from the post. And that snake is absolutely insane. I mean, to see the reds already coming down on either side of the dorsal stripe, especially towards the tail, it's.
Yeah, look how rich that is.
I've always said I wanted I really hope it's a male. I'm not sure what it is yet, but I've always said I want a trophy tiger male for my group, and I mean, even if that's a female, that's a trophy animal right there. It's hard to beat that. So I am very happy to have that in my collection, and like I said, it already ate for me, and it's doing all the right things. So yeah, it's. And I like the. Oh, go ahead.
I was saying it's amazing the contrast difference on like the first third of the snake between the tiger and this one. Like, dude, there's just no patterning, and then it just slowly creeps itself in, and then boom.
Yeah. So when that snake's 5-6 feet long, like it's that's gonna be insane. Yeah. I can't tell you how excited I was when I figured out that thing was coming to my place.
Look at the group chats exploding from that picture.
Yeah, so I'm on my iPad, so I have to like go in it separately. Yeah, it's nice. So I really, really like that animal, but thanks, Rob. Rob's being so nice about it.
Dude, Rob's the best. We love that guy.
Rob's a good dude. So I really like that look, but I also, and I have one too, is I like the tricolor stuff. So like the more, of course, when you get like bright reds and yellows and oranges on these animals, and like they have the diamond pattern and all that, basically a colored Halloween, if you want to think of it that way. That's really cool. When you organize all that chaotic pattern and coloring and stuff into a tiger, and like you see where every color that would be in different spots on the diamonds, on the laterals and dorsals and all that, and you organize it, holy crap, man.
like putting light through a prism.
Yeah exactly. Yeah, it's so I've got big plans for my group and all that, so that'll help out a lot.
I gotta ask, how's that red one that I gave you?
She's doing good. Yeah,
nice.
She's still doing good.
She still look like your shirt?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, she hasn't changed that. That's how she's gonna be. It's just
Hell yeah.
That. So that's another reason I'm hoping that one
is a boy.
Will end up being a boy, because he will definitely be meeting her at some point. Yeah, we'll manifest that he's a male, and hopefully that'll be what happens.
Yeah, right. And dude, that's one of those animals where like you want it to be a boy because sky's the limit. But if it's a girl, equally awesome.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have the big group anyway,
Yeah.
and I don't rush to sex them. Actually, next time you come over, you're gonna help me if you didn't know.
Nice.
But
Nice. Okay.
yeah, I got some that are finally to the size where I'd be comfortable with it. So
Yeah.
um,
And how hard is it to probe an Amazon? Can you even probe an Amazon?
yeah.
All right. I just didn't know like if it would just swallow the probe because that tail is so long.
Yeah, no, they had the counts. I don't remember the counts right off the top of my head,
Okay.
but no, it's similar. You just got to be a little more easy. So I'll have to talk you through not spiking it in bags and stuff while we're doing
Yeah.
it. But,
Yeah. Hey man, gotta show him who's boss.
well, we'll make sure Casey's here so he
Established
can deal
dominance.
with the head, and then we'll
Yeah.
make sure everything else is nice and calm on the business end.
Hey, how many rushies did we want up doing? This is
Too
side
many.
conversation. No, dude,
Yeah.
me bagging up 6+ foot adult rushies by myself
I don't know how
was
you did it, man.
you gotta spike them.
Yeah. I don't blame you there. That was it's so like you can read about how big those animals are. Think, oh yeah, 6, 7 foot arboreal tree boa. Yeah, it's not, when you see one of those things in person,
It's a New World
good,
scrub.
Yeah, dude, New
good
World
God,
scrub.
that's what it was, man. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, those things were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm screaming downstairs to my roommate. His name is Peter. I was like, Peter, and he's just not answering at all. And just finally he comes. He wasn't even home. He had left, and he comes back. He's like, "What are you doing?" And there's just all the bags of rushies all laid out on the table. I was like, "What am I doing? I'm dying by myself. Is what I'm doing. I thought you said you were going to be downstairs if I needed help." He's like, "Oh, I went to get Taco Bell." Just screaming.
You're
I
just-
didn't hear you yelling for me, so I
Yeah.
assumed you got it.
Yeah,
You're just on the porch sweating, smoking a cigarette when you're done with everything.
dude. Yeah, it was rough, man.
Oh.
Fuck that species.
Dude, so the one I still have, it's so the one crazy, the one that did well didn't eat for like the first 8, 9 months for me.
That's so crazy
like-
to me, man.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, it was one of the babies.
Yeah,
And then just all of a sudden it was like, hey, I want to live. Easily one of the most defensive snakes I've ever had.
yeah.
Like out of any species. It's ridiculous how defensive that thing is. But I mean, it's gonna be really cool to get it, up to size and all that stuff. But
Yeah,
obviously no
for sure.
rush. I'm not
Yeah.
power feeding it or anything. But,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
but yeah,
Oh man.
it's cool to have those and know what the potential is, as far as size and stuff. Because, saying how crazy it was having them, they are New World scrubs, like you said, Smitty.
Yeah.
That's probably the best way to describe them. But they're just so impressive to see that Corrales head that's not an emerald be that big. Kind of have the more Amazon look to it as opposed to an emerald look to it. Yeah, it was intimidating, man. And the reach on those things, good lord.
I'm gonna try and find some pictures now that it's been some time since we did
Do
it.
they like
Yeah.
acidly strike like the Amazons do, or do they do it with full?
Nope.
Purpose.
They don't have like the drunk noodle thing that the Amazons do. Yeah, they're like tone muscular, like getting after it type of
Yeah.
things. Yeah. They're scrubs.
When I had Amazons, dude, it was just anytime they'd strike, I'd just be like, "What the hell was that?" Like, you actually try.
When you try to feed them, like I know at least most of mine, the first couple times they strike, it's like their depth perception is just not there,
Yeah.
and they'll strike over it or under it a couple times, and you're like, "Come on, man! I got 30 other steaks to feed. Like, come on, let's get this going." Yeah.
So you know how retics strike, they do like that open mouth food aggression strike where they kind of like they lunge, they don't strike, they lunge. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So imagine that, but with the power and tenacity of a blood python.
I'd say it was not as like strong, but I'd compare it to like a Maclots.
See, I thought it was way more batty than any Mac I've ever worked with.
Dude, Max are
Sounds like that damn Tannenbar I had.
Oh, please. Hardly.
Oh,
Hardly.
man.
That Tannenbar
Yeah.
was an Amazon.
No, dude, when that
Trinket too, right?
Tannenbar decided to square up and he took swings, man, he was
Yeah, you went
he was giving it
50
his all.
rounds.
He was giving 100. He was giving 100%.
Sure he was.
Yeah. I went to Travis, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one that his daughter like puts around her
His
neck and stuff.
21-year-old daughter plays
Yeah.
with it like every day.
Yeah.
False. He came back weeks later and said, "I've changed my tune. This thing is not calm." That day was just a fluke. No one believes me. Just like that little
Okay.
radiated I had for Billy briefly.
That's probably the
I saw what I
chillest
saw.
Colignathus I've ever
Okay.
had. It's still chill. I can grab him right now if I wanted to.
If you wanted to.
You must do. You sedated or something.
Yeah. You got me. So, well, I needed to do that with the rushies.
Here, I'm gonna send you pictures. I'm sending the pictures as we speak. They're just taking forever to load. I'm
Probably gotta
actually
dig
Where are
deep
you
for 'em,
sending
too.
them?
I'm sending them to I'm gonna send them to myself and I'll just post them because they're
Is it the pictures of when you got them?
yeah, I'm trying to find the one of like me holding the one by the head. That one was like
the death grip.
the death. It wasn't, dude. It really wasn't. I really
Just
wasn't. I
like,
mean, the
Just
picture's
holding this
deceiving.
thing. It's blurry because he was shaking while he was.
Get the hell out of here! Come on, man. That did not happen. That did not happen. I didn't manhandle these animals. I treated them with respect.
I will. So that Tannenbar was not like super defensive, but he had his limit, and when he had hit it, he made it known.
Yeah.
He was much more of a runner than he was a striker. So,
all right, they just loaded. Let me share this.
These things were like freaking Velcro, though, dude. Once he anchored onto something,
yeah,
it was really hard to get him off. It's like Jesus.
Yeah, scrubs is one thing I can appreciate them. They are gorgeous, but they're just not for me.
Yep, that's where I'm at. After the Tannenbar, I was like, if this is just a taste, I'm good. I got my
Can you
sample.
imagine a king horneye, like a full-grown king horneye, and just dealing with that on that scale?
You're making Scott laugh in Australian.
In Australian. All right, here you go.
Sorry, Scott.
So that was one of like the medium-sized ones.
Jesus.
Yeah, that was a smaller one.
Yeah. And that's a 42-inch hook.
They're so pretty, man.
Yeah.
God, they're so pretty.
Yeah. And then here's the infamous picture.
I love the high black ones. That's always been my favorite in that group.
Yeah. And dude, like the head on that thing is straight up emerald tree boa.
Yeah,
Like,
you can
just,
see how big it is
yeah.
next to his hand. You know, Phil doesn't have small hands. That's a look. You can almost see the devil in his eyes.
Yeah.
And I just like you could see the different like the blue coming through here. I don't know if you guys can see my cursor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just awesome.
Angry mustard snake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a smaller one. But way more color, way more pattern. This one had some stuck shed.
Musking all day, Tim.
The one that I still have is the red one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
very nice.
That's still terrorizing Tampa.
Nice.
The Tampa Terror.
Scott says an ass puckering exercise. Definitely. Well, and it's crazy because like when I was at the warehouse getting them, and like obviously I had that one by the neck, and it wasn't because the animal was overly defensive or anything. It was just because it was the easiest way to bag a 7-foot snake made of Velcro, and just like once you have them on the hook, like they just don't want to let go of the hook. And but when I got them home and I set them up and I gave them each their own tub, their own water bowl, their own hide box, and then like a week later went to like change those water bowls and change that paper that was in there. I was like, what did I, why am I struggling like this? Like, dude, infinitely more difficult than venomous because they hold on to stuff, It's just wild, man.
I think that was when you told me you were done getting Corrales for me.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, you're like, hey, like never again. I'm sorry, man.
Well, dude, if it's a juvie Amazon, I'm okay. Like the red one that I got, dude, I made the mistake of I think Anna Maria came over and I was like, yo, look at this snake that I got for Billy. And I don't even know if I told you yet or not, but I was like, look at this snake I got for Billy. And I take it out and she's like, wow, it's gorgeous. And I was like, yeah, isn't it crazy red color? And like I was messing with it like for like a good 10 minutes. And she's like, is it cool if I hold it? And I said, honestly, I wouldn't. I said, you could try and touch it. And like she went to touch it and it swung around. I was like, all right, maybe that wasn't a good idea. And I handled it for a little while longer. And I got to that like 12, 13 minute mark. And it was just like, excuse me, sir. We're done here, sir. And then whack, I got nailed.
Yeah, had enough of your shit.
Yeah. But I pushed it too far, So.
Yeah, they're not that. The Amazons, they're not that bad once you like learn their body language. And I mean, honestly, especially like captive bred ones, like they're a breeze. It's just like any other snake. It's like a carpet. If you never, what happens is people, they get their ideas of how they are with imports and wild caught adults, and of course they're going to be defensive. Like that's just how it is. But if you work with them a little bit, I mean, they're just like any other snake. And two, the drunk thing that they do, like if you don't see it coming from a mile away, like that's on you. You need to
yeah, exactly.
You should pay attention to when you're holding them, because you can tell right away that they're about to swing. And usually if you just stay wherever you're at, they're gonna miss you.
So. Yeah, what's like the safest time to handle an Amazon is when you have friends over because it doesn't know who to punch.
Yeah.
Well, the group chat's been itching for toad talk. And I know you just went out Saturday night looking.
I did.
So you got new exotics, you got new locals.
Totally
toad-tastic.
Was that a dad joke, Smitty? Smitty just did a dad joke.
He did.
There you go.
He's a dad. He's allowed.
So, yeah, I guess we'll start with the native stuff. Southern toads are really freaking cool. And
I was meaning to ask you, did you see the one that's floating around on Instagram that somebody just caught? One of the how do I phrase this? Reptile influencer, trust fund baby, I just herp for Instagram for a living, one of those accounts.
Is it the Yoink guy?
I don't remember who it is, but he found a southern toad that I want to say was down south, like either Everglades or Naples, something like that. Dude, it would not shock me if it was a cane toad hybrid. It's the biggest southern toad I've ever seen. It was like a friggin' grapefruit. It was huge.
I haven't seen that one.
If I come across it again, I'll definitely, if I find the guy's account, I'll send it to you. It was crazy, but go on. Sorry.
I'm pretty sure, I guess, sidebar, I saw one on a group, I think a local group or whatever.
Yeah.
I think in Hernando. So like just north of me. It was a pied southern.
Really?
And they're like, yeah, we just found this, thought it was cool. Let it go. And it's like, oh, all right, well.
Yeah.
I'm sure as soon as like people saw where it was, there was probably a group of guys like trying to find all that stuff.
For sure.
But yeah, so me and Sam have been going toad hunting and all that and kind of seeing where things are at. And Dude, the variability on these things, I
Dude, it's
had no
wild,
idea.
man. It's
I had
wild.
no idea. And there, I mean, just the different colors, patterns. Uh, I found one that was patternless.
Yeah.
You know, the reds, the tans, the silvers. I
The
have one that's
tans with
like
red.
it's everything. You know, some of them it's just their glands have the color on them. It's so cool. And I know I was telling you and Casey and the group that I'm in with you guys, like I don't know why these aren't pushed more as like first time pets and
Yeah.
all that. Like I've had so much fun just sitting and watching these things. Because they're just, you know, they're dopey and they eat everything and you know, then they burrow and they're just I'm having a lot of fun with it. That's you know, that's kind
Yeah,
of been
dude.
the big thing, especially with all the amphibians. I'm like, man, I'm having so much fun with all these different species and really what's helping me do all this is I started breeding my own feeders. That's always been the one thing that kept me away from the lizards and amphibians and stuff. But now that I'm doing the roaches, I'm doing the mealworm supers and you know flies and all that kind of stuff, and I realize it's not that bad. Um, yeah, you know, sky's the limit.
Yeah.
So,
Have you been sensitized to the roaches yet?
no, I'm waiting for it. So like I do wear a when I'm really getting into especially the worms with the frass and whenever I mess with the roaches, I wear a respirator just to because I already like if I do it too long and that stuff gets kicked up, I'll be sneezing and coughing the whole rest of the day. So
Yep,
yeah, I
it
know
has
that that'll
begun.
happen. Yeah, well, that was right off the bat, so I kind of learned how to. I learned, all right, well, I just need to have that on so that I'm not, you know, which yeah, it's an extra step, but you know, small price to pay to have the
Yeah.
cool stuff.
Especially to have all that food that you're feeding, you're gut loading
Mm,
at your disposal. You know, that's awesome.
yeah, and
So
that's been another thing that I've gotten into is the nutrition part of it, and just all the different things to gut load and different supplements and all that kind of stuff. It's been fun learning that too. So
hell yeah. You got isopods now too. You got springtails now.
I do, yeah.
You just got a whole menagerie. The so how many southerns you up to now?
Right now I just have the three.
Oh,
Just
what
keeping it
happened to the
simple.
didn't you have like
I
the seven
I
that we
I
picked?
did, but I did, but then I was like, hey, do I need, you know, all that? So I kind
Oh,
of kept them
look
for a
at
little
you
bit,
being
and then
responsible.
every now and then.
You know,
And
it's
it's
because
not
I
like I
wasn't
can't grow
there.
them anymore.
Yeah, it's
That's
because
fair. Yeah, it's like,
yeah.
hey man, you should have kept them. Yeah,
Dude,
but
wait, what? You're gonna release that? You're not gonna keep that and see what happens?
yeah. Well, I mean, too, it just gives a reason to go back out and see
Right.
what's out there. So I have a trio right now. They're still really tiny, so they got a long way to go. But I guess little plug for a breeder that's doing amazing stuff with the Southerns. If anybody's
Legit.
interested in seeing it,
Legit. I know what you're gonna say.
ben, yeah, Benjamin Exotics. I think he's already on like F2s and stuff. He's got stock from the Panhandle and he's got stock from North Carolina. And
See on
yeah,
see on
yeah,
Instagram.
oh yeah.
Yeah, we're
Instagram. He does YouTube videos, all that kind of stuff.
dude, his
Um,
YouTube channel is incredible. We're going to get him on this show with Billy. It's going to
yeah,
happen. He
yeah, I
doesn't know
definitely
yet, but
should.
it's gonna happen.
Yeah, well, there you go, Ben. That's
Yeah.
happening. He just recently, so if you go to his page right now, the latest spawn that he did was Asian painted toads or painted frogs.
Yeah.
Um,
So
and those
cool,
are
man.
starting to get size on them. Yeah, he's a really cool guy. I reached out to him, just like, hey, here's what I'm doing. Here's my ideas. I just kind of wanted to bounce them off you. You know, you're doing cool stuff, all that. And you know, sometimes like you'll reach out to people and you get either nothing or just, you know, a sentence or something or, oh, that's cool, man. He like gave me like that's a Southern there in his profile picture. But yeah, he like answered all my questions super in depth and just really cool guy and really awesome collection that he has. He's Yeah.
And dude, his morph stuff with the Southerns is just incredible, man. And like not even morph, just like regional locality line producing amazingness.
Yeah, he's got this one thing that he's working on. He's calling them how fat they are. That's so funny. Um, he's calling them pumpkin lipped, like the pumpkin lip line, and their lips will be completely orange and
Really?
stuff. Yeah, and then look at that red one. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Look at that vertical line. That's a great shot, dude. You know that toad is well fed that it just sat there like that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Big old female.
And then he captive produced oak toads this year too, right?
Yeah.
Or was that last year?
I want to say it was earlier this year.
Yeah. Dude, look at those things. They're gorgeous.
Yeah, he's doing awesome stuff. So yeah, anytime I can, give him a shout out. He's super nice when I had my questions when I first started, keeping him and stuff, and just all of his stuff's top notch.
Oh yeah, look at them. Dude, they're so fat, man. So fat. But look at the red in that one. Oh man.
Those are all really nice.
Go back. Was that a chubby or is that a tomato? Go up one and over to the right. Yeah, what is that?
Is that one of the painteds?
That's the painted, yeah.
Painted.
Yeah, it's a painted.
So that's what he has babies that just metamorphosized right now that just came out of the water.
Dude, look at that. Dude's almost so fat that he can't grab on. Look, dude, he's grabbed the female in front of the legs. Is that right?
I think that's. I'm still learning. I think that's what they do.
I see. I always thought it was always under the armpits.
But like one thing I really like about Benjamin that he does, like when he does things and it doesn't work out, he doesn't shy away from putting that out there and saying, hey, like I'm only going to show the good stuff. He when he first started doing the Southerns, like there's a whole video on, hey, I got this spawn and it didn't go well. Here's why. And put it all out there and stuff. A lot of guys wouldn't do that. So
yeah, man.
But, just the variability and all of his stuff is either from I think he has 2 groups. All right, don't quote me on that. Like I said, from the Panhandle and then from an area in North Carolina. So it's all line bred stuff. It's all regional stuff, and just see the variability and everything.
Does he have piebald ones or no?
No, that's another guy in California. That's the Frog Collective.
Okay.
I think it's his. Yeah, he's got the albino. He has the albino European greens.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, and he's got all the Southern
stuff.
Dude,
look at that one. That thing is awesome.
So I did see there's like some jet black ones up in Gainesville. I was looking on iNaturalist.
Wow, Smitty, go back to that second. Oh, look at that. That's so cool. Yeah, go back one more. Dude, look at the contrast, even like against the black soil. Like, dude, and the cranial ridges. Oh, and those ridges that connect the gland to the cranial. That's so cool, man.
Yeah, if you would have asked me last year, we'd be sitting here talking about toads.
Yeah, dude, it's
here we are.
I figured it out, man. It's Nipper brainwashing me, and it's watching Harry have his interactions with his backyard, his deck toads, his porch toads.
Yeah.
Dude, those 2 things just did it, and like now I'm fucking hooked.
Yeah, look at that.
That's so cool. Yeah. That's jet black, man.
Yeah, he's got some really cool stuff. So yeah, so if anybody's remotely interested in Southern toads, definitely check out Ben's stuff.
Yeah, we got to get him on the show, man. We gotta. So cool. I do love that he puts the coin in there for scale. That's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, since I started keeping these things, like I was saying before, like I don't know why these aren't pushed more as like a first time pet or first time amphibian or something like that, because they don't take up a lot of space.
Yeah.
They're easy to eat. You don't have to, you really don't have to heat them that much. You can have a really nice planted vivarium, or you have, bare bones, whatever you want to do. Uh, they're just, they're so easy. Yeah, it's almost infuriating how easy they are once you
Yeah.
finally get them. Yeah.
Yeah. So cool, man. So now you got some non-native stuff too, right?
I do. I do. Because unlike the Amazons, I don't have any self control. And I just go in on everything. So the first ones I got were, well, I guess it all started with the Surinams in Daytona, the Suriname horns.
Yeah.
So that started the whole thing. And then um, I ended up getting smooth-sided toads. I got some neonates of those. Those are getting big fast. Uh, I really like the stuff that gets big. So like those the females can get up to like 7, 8 inches, somewhere in there, uh, and just be ginormous. And the variability in those two, I have two of them right now, and one of them, his back is, kind of a cream color, and then he has red spots all over him. And then the other one has more of a brown back, but then he has a lot of red, like solid red on his sides. And then his like belly and chest have uh, like white blotches all over it. So
Nice.
those have been really cool. Um, they so those their bufotoxin is a little more um, worrisome than like the southern toads and stuff. So you kind of have to be a little more, cognizant of not getting that, on you, or like here, make sure the dogs don't, get to them or anything like that. But yeah, those have been really fun. They seem to really like since I'm breeding mealworms, they seem to really like the beetles. So since I'm breeding enough, I'll set aside a tub of worms that I'll just let go to beetles, and then I'll feed those. Because when you start looking up field studies of these things, diets, a lot of them eat beetles like all the time. Like southerns, that's one of the top things that they eat are beetles. So now that I have the mealworms, I'm able to, kind of put enough aside that I can always have a constant supply that I can feed
Nice.
to them.
And you, excuse me, you've tried to feed the adult black. What about superworm? Is it superworms that are black ones or mealworms too?
Yeah, both. Yeah.
Okay. And because I know like a lot of lizard species won't eat the beetles because they have that like that musky that musk defense chemical that smells like burnt firewood. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I haven't had any issues with that. So what I
Okay.
try to do when I can, I'll try to feed them when they're still red.
Hmm.
It just depends on if I get to it or not.
Yeah.
But I haven't had any issues with the southerns, the smooth sides, or the rivers. Well, I gave a superworm beetle to one of the rivers, and it was not like it wasn't an issue at all.
Nice. Nice. So speaking of the rivers,
Yeah.
I got the pictures queued up, bro.
Yeah. Go ahead. Let's
Should we
see
just
it.
show here? I'll show the enclosure first. How about that?
Okay.
We'll show the enclosure because I like that enclosure. I thought it came out great.
Yeah, it's a good little first one.
So there you go. So that's a 3 foot by 18 by 18.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of the Casey Cannon specials.
Nice. I love it. And then, so here there's that. And then it's a little zoomed in more. Got some fake plants in there. got some cork and some moss, and I thought it came out good.
Yeah, it's set up exactly the same way now. It's held up really well, and they seem to be doing well with all the little um, microclimates I created in there and all
Nice.
that kind of stuff. So
And just for the listeners at home, what species are we putting in here again?
these are giant Asian river toads.
And they
Uh,
look like oh, that's not it. They
I know.
look like that.
Boom. Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah. So
Dude.
these, yeah, I didn't know about these guys, and then just kind of going down the toad rabbit hole. Um, so I don't have I don't have the smallest hands in the world, but not the biggest hands in the world either. But these things are about 4 inches, 4.5 inches long. They're one of the largest toad species in the world. Females get a lot, the males get about 5 inches or so, so not too much bigger than this, but the females have the potential to get like 9 inches. Like they're just
Wow.
massive. So these guys still have a long way to go. Um, but yeah, so I believe that is my female, the
Nice.
lighter
I
one with the red on it and stuff.
love the red. Oh, that's awesome. And just to think how much bigger they're gonna get.
Yeah, so like they're graded size wise. Smalls, mediums, what's those are the mediums, large and extra large, just to kind of put in perspective. But if you look these guys up, you'll see pictures of like full grown ones and people holding them and stuff, and it's insane. Yeah, and that's the male. So I think I got really lucky and got a pair out of these guys.
Nice.
Um, so I don't think so. You can't hear it, but he's calling there in my hand. Every time I flip him over, he starts
Here,
honking.
let me try and how about now? Can you hear that? Can you guys hear
Yes.
that or no?
Yeah, I heard it. Um, yeah, so he does that every day now in the house. He gets under his little log and he just starts calling. But like it's kind of more like a honk now. It's not like that's kind of more chirpy. He does it's more a honking thing.
Nice.
Yeah, I so the first time I heard it, I thought like there was somebody outside like honking their horn and stuff, and then like I looked around, I was like, wait a second, that's coming from the living room, and then I saw him like doing it, and I was like, oh boy, here we go.
Yeah.
We're already starting it. But, what's cool about those guys? So they there's not a lot known about them. They're river species, obviously. The adults are never found more than 2 or 3 meters away from the river, and then the juveniles will be like another 5 or 6 meters away from the river. So they kind of have their areas that they stay in and stuff. So they eat all the same stuff. Uh, so since they stay in different areas, they're not in direct competition. So it's not like juveniles will eat a certain prey item and then as they get bigger, transition. They always eat the same stuff. So they're really big on ants and termites. Uh, they're a large animal that eats a ton of small stuff. So that's why, of course, breeding my own feeders is a big deal because if
Yeah.
I had to foot the bill on always getting stuff for them all the time, that would be rough. But
Yeah, for sure.
another cool thing about them, because just for now, I'm just trying to figure out how to keep them and supplements and husbandry, and I got some ideas for what I want to do with them down the line. But they were produced for the first time, to my knowledge. Now, obviously, there could be a whole bunch I don't know because I've just started learning about these guys recently. But there was a zoo, I forget where it was. I think it was somewhere overseas. In 2022, produced these guys for the first time, and they put out a
Wow.
paper on everything they did. They had they basically had a big, I guess for lack of a better word, trough, but it wasn't really a trough. It was a very large, like water basin thing. And it had a land area. It was split into thirds. It had a land area. It had a shallow water area that was just like a foot or two. And then it had a deep water area that was about 4 feet deep. And that was the whole enclosure. And it was probably, I don't know, 6 to 8 feet long, the whole thing. And they ended up getting, a successful spawn out of that. So,
That's great,
it's
man.
cool. It's cool to have a species that there's not a lot known about. So a lot of the, it's kind of learning as you go type of thing instead of like, oh, somebody's already figured everything out, just mimic what they do.
Yeah.
So, I'm already kind of seeing how, the male likes to be here. Like the male's always right on the water. It's where the female, she's a little smaller. She's always, further from the water. And then whenever I put food in, they, go where the food's at, and then they go back to their places. And
Really?
it's, yeah. So just little things like that.
Do you ever see them actually in the water?
Oh, all the time.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. They're in and out all day. And they get along. They'll get in the water together and they'll, do one at a time, all that kind of
Nice.
stuff. But, easily, like just seeing pictures and stuff doesn't do them justice at all. Easily, and I think I told you and Casey this when I got them, like hands down the coolest animal I've ever like had in hand and just watched and observed and all that. Like they're almost like they're like a cross between a toad and a frog, because like they have the really long leg, like you think like a southern toad or a smooth-sided toad or something like that. You kind of think of this land animal that, they kind of have shorter, stumpier legs. Like, yeah, they can still hop
Yeah.
around, but they're, it's more bellies hanging and all that kind of stuff. So where you think of like a bullfrog, they're more streamlined. They have those long legs. They have the webbed feet, all that. These guys, like almost waist up, is 100% toad. Their back legs are 100% frog.
Yeah.
Like, at least from what I've gathered in the small time I've been dealing with the amphibians and what I've learned and stuff.
And they have way more webbing than you'd expect a toad to have. It almost has like bullfrog feet.
Well, I've seen videos of them because like it always said that they were close to the water, but it doesn't, there's not a lot of observations of them being in the water outside of just shallow standing water that they can just sit in.
Right.
But I did find a video of someone that was observing them, and then it, they spooked it, so it went into the water. 100% swims just like a frog. Like it's a bullfrog in the water. So I thought that was really interesting.
They're reminiscent of the yellow spotted climbers.
Yeah,
it's kind of what they remind me of a little bit.
Have that look to them. Yeah,
just the body, like the build.
Yeah, 100%, like the head shape and all that stuff. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm still kind of figuring out how I'm going to set them up, because obviously that's not going to be their forever enclosure. But I'm kind of going towards the idea of maybe doing a greenhouse type of situation with them. I think that might. I'm thinking like some type of running water thing to kind of make that river, look, depending on how deep I get into these guys.
Yeah.
I think that would be neat. I think I told you too, Phil, maybe something with a waterland tub.
Yeah.
Would be, to give them that length to where you can kind of make riverbank type of situation. And I think that'd be an easy way to give them a lot of space to, do what they do.
Yeah. The, what is it? The pseudo bufetes, they're not toads, they're frogs. They come out of Malaysia and they're super warty. You know what I'm talking about? Well, I sent you pictures of them that one time. They're like covered in warts, and they're like jet black and maroon. Anyway, they're a frog species that basically mimics toads, and they get very large, similar to the rivers. And I've seen a couple dudes over in Indonesia, like in Sumatra, that keep them, and they have like Waterland style tubs, and they have a power head like you'd have in the top of a saltwater fish tank to make a current, and then they just have this circular current going, and that for whatever reason simulates a creek or a crick for all of our southerners. And I don't know if the giant rivers would need that much flow, or maybe they prefer a current or not, opposed to like something more stagnant. I don't know, but you could always do, if you're going to do the waterland tubs, I've seen them do it. They just literally screw a power head on it and just plug the thing in and just let it run.
Yeah, I think so. Like, I think the idea I have and where I'm getting the idea from is, one, just seeing the videos I've seen of them being observed in the wild, and then the waterland tub thing. If you just look up turtle keepers setting up outside enclosures and the tubs, or they do ponds or something like that. I mean, just a little bit of imagination, kind of put two and two together and be like, oh, you basically just make a turtle enclosure, and
Yeah.
that there's your river and
Yeah,
your riverbank,
exactly.
and I was just thinking um, like the flowing water will just kind of be a way to kind of give them spots, because like the videos I've seen, it'll have the river or creek or whatever flowing, and then there'll be little pockets where there's rocks that kind of stick out of the water, so it'll make little tide pool type of situations. And it
Okay.
seems like they're more apt to, when they go in the water, go into those, as opposed to just riding down the river rapid, if you will.
Yeah.
But that's also going to be part of the fun, is kind of putting this stuff together and figuring it out. And I'm fortunate that I'm in the area I'm in, so I can test this stuff outside and kind of see how that works out. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Hell
it
yeah.
works. And,
That's great, man. That's great.
yeah, I'm excited, man. Those things have got me more excited than a lot of stuff have recently. So I'm who would have thought?
I know. Well, you know what it is we did snakes for so long, and as much as snakes are they're our go-to, they're our first love, they'll always be like our core reptile passion. The three of us, legit. I see, as we've been keeping, that now it's time to dip our toe into other things to kind of spice it up a little bit,
Yeah, it is nice to have different things. And like, obviously I still have the snakes, I still have the carpets. Carpets are still my that's where my heart's at.
Yeah.
But it's cool to branch out and see all these different things, learn different things. Whenever I get a new species, or I'm interested in a new species, I kind of have my same routine. I'll do a basic search, find whatever info I can, look through old forums, all that kind of stuff. And then I'll kind of go more the academic route. And, I'm kind of learning how to decipher some of that language, and, piece it together in ways that'll help, what I'm doing as far as husbandry and stuff. So it's the different stuff that people have found with different species it's so cool.
Hell yeah.
It's been super fun. So.
Hell yeah. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Well, we're at the 2-hour mark, boys. Smitty, is there anything else you want to touch base on?
I don't think so.
All right.
Okay,
Rock and
one
roll.
more thing.
Yeah.
One more thing out there. So, I got the shipment in I was telling you about.
Yeah.
Right. So, the two adult Surinames, the wild caught ones, I was,
Yeah.
kind of concerned, because, just the history of those guys, and I've had them in the past. Both ate for me first time today.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
So
What would you feed them? Crickets?
Fuzzies.
Oh, fuzzies.
Yeah. So the one is freaking huge, man. I wasn't ready.
By the way,
apparently I've
for the
never
listeners,
actually seen
we're talking about
adult.
Suriname horned frogs. That's what we're talking about.
Cornuta. Yeah, the cornuta. Yeah. Yeah, so I got 2 wild caught adults. Historically, they're everywhere right now. Shipment just came in, so like I think Scales and Tails has them. The guy I got them from has them. So you're gonna see them popping up everywhere. They historically don't do well. They don't eat. They don't acclimate. They don't do all that. I've had captive bred ones since August that have like quadrupled in size and eat everything. Um, these, I was like, you know what? Let me just roll the dice. I was getting a group of other stuff anyway, so I was like, why
Yeah.
not? And dude, I can't tell you how excited I was when those things, like I had to tease feed them, like they're
Yeah.
not just going after it. But I had a wild caught one years ago, and I couldn't get it to eat anything. So I think, you know, kind of how I'm keeping it, and temps and not messing with them and leaving them alone and letting them do their thing. Um, I don't know. I don't want to get too excited, because I've only had them for a short time. But if they do well, I'll be excited. Especially that big one. That I don't think I've actually seen an adult. So to see one that big, I was like, oh my gosh, that's impressive. So
Yeah, for sure, man. That's awesome.
yeah.
And just because we're on the topic of amphibian husbandry, Scott has so graciously reminded us that he has a book that from back in 2012 on amphibian husbandry. So if you want to go check out wildlifedemonstrations.com, there's a bunch of sweet amphib action as well as some purely Aussie stuff too. So go check that out as well.
Is that what it's called? Because I will literally get it as soon as we get off here.
Yeah, let me get the exact name. Hang on.
How are those oxys doing?
They're doing awesome, man. Yeah, they're doing awesome. They've all eaten multiple times. They've all shed. They're good. They're not psychos yet. That's awesome. Yeah, they're doing really good. Um, the silvers, they have a lot of yellow in them, so I'm
Yeah.
kind of curious to see how that will translate as they get older. If they're going to lose that, or if they're going to gain that. Yeah, they're doing really good. I'm very happy that they. With them, it's always, are they going to eat? Because that species can be very finicky. They
Yeah.
want to be, but since they're captive bred, Jared has awesome stuff.
Rock
So
solid. Yeah.
he's doing
Just
yeah,
hatched
he's
out
doing
some
good.
more too.
He sure did. He is cranking them out. That's yeah. When are we gonna get some Jansenite, man?
I don't know. I need to actually check the egg box and see if there's anything going on. Female kind of disappeared for a bit, which, similar to the rhinos, makes me wonder if something's going on. So
Hopefully, man. Fingers crossed.
something good. We'll see.
Well, Scott says that the book is out of print. However, if you go to wildlifedemonstrations.com, there's a shitload of awesome amphibian books, some purely Aussie stuff, Edition Chimera, as well as many other publications. So go check it out. Throw Scott and Ty some love. And yeah.
All right.
This episode was brought to you by BlackBoxCages.com. Facebook, Instagram, check it out. Use the code THN at checkout, get 10% off your order. Then pop on over to FullVSapparel.com. Also use the code THN at checkout, get 15% off your order. That is the exclusive promo code for THN listeners and viewers like you. And then Cold-Blooded Caffeine, unique coffee. Morning, day, night, doesn't matter. It's all good. Memorial Day sale going on this weekend. Hop on over to coldbloodedcaffeine.com. Shop around, check it out. Or use the link down below in the description. And I think there's Flipping 10 happen on Thursday. So
Nice.
That'll be live. Other than that, we'll see y'all later.
Bye.